All right, welcome to Creator Hardware, and today we're going to do a review of this 2U chassis from RackChoice. Now, if you didn't see the video, I did a build in this case, and I think that's the best way to get a real feel of how a case actually is to build in it, not just looking at it. You'll notice this is not a very deep chassis, so it could possibly fit into a lot of AV style racks that are very cheap on Amazon or even, Craigslist, eBay. So this might be a good option if that's the only rack solution you have. Now, first off, it is a MicroATX case, so pretty small motherboard. I/O is going to be limited. You're only going to have, very limited expansion slots. 2 pre-installed Molex fans that come with it. They're actually not bad fans. They're not loud. They're Molex powered though, so keep that in mind. You've got a mount for 2 hard drives up here, and then below that you have a mount for 2 SSDs on a plate right in front of those fans. Now that bracket's a little more awkward to get out. Editor's note here, while doing the B-roll for this video, found that while yes, the plate below the hard drive mount will mount SSDs, the problem is you can't actually plug anything into them. The motherboard interferes. But it will physically fit 2 SSDs. You just ain't gonna be able to use them. So just wanted to add this as a note. Now the chassis can support a full ATX power supply. Please note, one of the screw holes, at least on my power supply, did not line up. So it's only held in with 3, but 3 will do fine. But you can put any ATX power supply. It doesn't require some expensive power supply to go in here. Behind this grate, so if you want to put in a CD drive or DVD burner or something like that. Below that, there is a bay for 1 additional standard hard drive. So you can have a total of 3 hard drives in this chassis. So let's talk chassis flex. Now, every chassis I've bought and put into my rack has chassis flex, especially without a motherboard in it. But this one is actually the best out of all of them as far as chassis flex. It's pretty stiff for a rack mount chassis. So it's not gonna bend and warp, etc. based on, a heavy power supply in it that's not supported properly. I think you're pretty good on this chassis as far as flex. Now, one of the issues with a MicroATX chassis like this is if it's not a server board, you don't have IPMI, you're gonna need video out for at least setup. Depending on the BIOS, you may be able to disable it. I've talked about in another video, but you're gonna need some sort of video out to, well, set it up. You can't get them any cheaper than this, and it's a half-height video card, so you can put it in here to get video out. So if like you're using a different Ryzen CPU that doesn't have a built-in GPU, you can use one of these and have video out, so you can set it up as an unraid server, Plex server. Unfortunately, that is one of the limiting factors of a 2U chassis, especially one this small, is you're not going to have a lot of I/O and you're not going to have a lot of, well, PCI slots. So I think overall, this is a really good chassis for a beginning home labber where they're going to do virtual machines. You've got expandability to some extent. I think a really good option, and you don't have to have a lot of rack space to fit this in. So you can buy a cheap AV rack, stick this in there, and you can start home labbing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching. This is Creator Hardware.